The season may be coming to an end, but in the basketball world, that actually means things are about to heat up again very soon. Almost immediately after the NBA Finals and the NBA Draft comes into focus, then immediately after that, free agency starts up, and then amid all of that happening, trades are being discussed with some massive moves expected to be going down this summer too. It's very difficult to predict what exactly will happen, but that's never stopped anybody from trying, which is exactly why we're here to do just that in today's video. To be precise, today we will be making 5 bold predictions for the upcoming offseason. With these being predictions that aren't necessarily expected to happen, but reasonably could still happen to the surprise of many. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first bold prediction for the offseason we have today is that the Cleveland Cavaliers will trade both Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen. The Cavaliers were sitting pretty all season long atop the Eastern Conference, with things finally seeming to click with this core. But then in the playoffs, the red-hot Indiana Pacers knocked them down a peg, eliminating them in the second round, and it has left them with a lot to think about. This group's flaws have been exposed in the playoffs 3 years in a row now, with their Twin Towers lineup struggling to match up offensively with the other top-tier teams. And even though it has brought incredible success on defense, this offseason is setting up in a way where a big shakeup could be brewing. The Cavaliers already come in motivated to get aggressive after their disappointing playoff flameout, and the players that they could be tempted to trade just so happen to be the players that play positions that many other contending teams are desperate to upgrade. The center position is the key to a successful defense, and a team like the Lakers, for example, will be desperate to upgrade there after getting dominated in the playoffs due to their lack of size. Plus, a team like the Raptors may want to upgrade the position as well after putting together a core they hope can get them back to the playoffs. So Jarrett Allen is going to draw plenty of interest for his work as a rim protector. Darius Garland is the interesting to watch here though, as not only are there a lot of teams that will also be in search of a point guard to improve their team's offenses, but the Cavaliers may find that they need to deviate from the too small guard backcourt that has made things tough on defense in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell is an elite playoff scorer, while Garland has had his fair share of struggles on the big stage. So if they had to pick between the two, then Mitchell would get the nod every single time. And if a team like, say, the Magic, Kings, Heat, or Mavericks came with a substantial offer, I don't think they would hesitate to pull the trigger. Moving Evan Mobley to center and letting Donovan Mitchell run the show is the likely path forward for them, and with the market looking how it looks, now is the time to put this plan into action. Our next bold prediction for the upcoming offseason is that the Houston Rockets will be the team that ends up going all in on trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks seem to have reached the point of no return, which leaves them with 2 options. They could either A, hold out false hope, keeping Giannis as they continue to fade further into the realm of mediocrity due to the fact that they have no movable assets or money to spend, or B, they can amicably work with Giannis on a trade that will benefit both sides in a way that helps get Giannis back into title contention while the Bucks shift into a much needed rebuild. If or when the Bucks choose option B, then they're going to be fielding offers from pretty much the entire league, so the team that has the most to offer while also having a realistic path to contention will likely be the one that wins the Giannis sweepstakes, and the Rockets healthily check both of those boxes. The Rockets emerged this year out of their rebuild, finishing as the 2 seed in the West, with a foundation of elite defense, strong depth at every position, impressive athleticism throughout the lineup, and versatility being at the heart of their success. But what they're missing is a true superstar number 1 option to lead the way scoring the basketball for them. Giannis not only fits seamlessly into their defensive scheme as a former Defensive Player of the Year winner who roams the paint and provides elite help defense and rotational work, but offensively, he's of course a walking 30 ball, averaging over 30 points per game 3 years in a row now, so he gives the Rockets exactly what they need to reach the top tier of contention. The Rockets have a deep roster with young players a rebuilding team would love to bring in and develop, so they can afford a package to put together some guys guys and pieces to make it happen. Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, and even Amen Thompson could be on the table in a package for Giannis, and while I know Amen Thompson has unreal upside that Rockets fans are excited about, when it comes to trading for a player like Giannis, it's worth the sacrifice, even if it hurts to pull the trigger in the moment. Throw in a haul of first-round picks, and that's an offer that very few other teams can even come close to topping. Our next bold prediction for the upcoming offseason is that the San Antonio Spurs will trade the number 2 pick in the draft. The Spurs being blessed by the lottery, shooting them up the draft board, gives them so many more options than they anticipated having. And even though they're not necessarily motivated to move the pick, I strongly believe they will receive too many tempting offers for them to resist. This year's draft has a clear-cut top 2 prospects, and then the debates begin at number 3, so with Cooper Flagg locked into being selected first overall, there are a lot of teams that will want the chance to draft Dylan Harper, and the Spurs have plenty of reason to hear them out. The Spurs just traded for De'Aaron Fox to pair with Victor Wembanyama for what they hope will be years to come as their solution at point guard. And not only that, but they also just drafted Stephon Castle last year, who is coming off of a Rookie of the Year season, and should be a big part of the team's core moving forward as well. Adding Dylan Harper makes their backcourt a tough puzzle to solve, and if they keep the pick, they'll obviously be happy to sort it out, because talent tends to win out anyway. But if they find an offer that helps them with a better fit, I believe they would take it. There have already been reports that the 76ers and Pelicans want to trade up to land the pick, and teams like the Nets and Raptors could also get into the mix to address a position of long-term need. Our next bold prediction for the coming offseason is that the Celtics will be major sellers in order to shed salary. The Celtics went from ruling the NBA landscape to being stuck in purgatory, all within the span of a year, and there really aren't any simple solutions to get out of it. Jason Tatum's Achilles injury, likely forcing him to miss all of next season, is a really tough setback for this group that was all in on contending in the short term, to the point where they are going into next season with the league's highest payroll well into the second apron of the luxury tax. When you're the favorite to win a championship, that kind of spending can be justified, but when you're a playoff team in a tier below that, it's a surefire way to hold your team back for years to come. There's also no telling how Tatum will be able to perform in 2 years when he recovers from his injury, and if he's not the superstar we've come to know, then the team's investment sinks them further. Because of this, the Celtics desperately need to find a way to open up some flexibility moving forward, which means some of the massive contracts on their payroll probably have to go. Jaylen Brown is currently the second highest paid player in the history of the NBA, Jrue Holiday is on a max contract at age 35, Kristaps Porzingis is making $30 million next year while struggling to stay healthy, and Derek White is being paid just shy of a max contract for the next 4 years too. Kristaps comes off the books after next season, but even with that happening, they're still paying over $200 million for 3 more years. Unfortunately, that means all eyes will be on Jaylen Brown and Jrue Holiday, who are both objectively overpaid a bit, but would still simultaneously attract real value on the trade block. The Celtics should focus on getting younger and acquiring as many assets as possible, while also freeing up some cap space along the way. The Spurs could sneakily be a team interested in Jaylen Brown and could dangle that number 2 pick in front of Boston in a trade package for him, and Jrue Holiday will attract interest in any playoff team in need of experience on the perimeter through lockdown defense. It's a tough pill to have to swallow because after winning it all in 2024, the Celtics seemed primed to become a dynasty. But unfortunately, they're yet another example of how quickly things can change in this league. And finally, our last bold prediction for the coming offseason is that Jonathan Kuminga is going to leave the Warriors in free agency. Kuminga's 4 years with the team have been filled with more ups and downs than anyone would have liked, and it also included a lot of distrust between Coach Steve Kerr and Kuminga throughout. Kuminga's always been a high upside talent with raw tools, but at his best, he's proven he can do some special things with his length, explosiveness, and fluidity on the floor. Being real, he hasn't always been the smartest player, and he's been known to have mental lapses here and there, not fully locking in on defense, and missing some key rotations, which is what Steve Kerr goes crazy about in the Warriors system. But Kuminga has been kept on a tight leash for way too long, and with Kuminga entering free agency without a contract extension, the team needs to just make a final decision on if they plan to prioritize his development or not. If that's not their plan, then they need to let him walk in free agency and not utilize their ability to match any offer he gets as a restricted free agent, because after Kuminga averaged 24 points in the Timberwolves playoff series after having been freed from the end of the bench, he showed what he could do with a bit more trust, and I just don't think he'll ever be trusted as long as Steve Kerr is in charge. If he goes to a new team with less pressure in the short term, he can thrive, and it's best for both sides to let that happen instead of having the Warriors pay up big money just to continue holding him back. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below some of your bold predictions for this upcoming offseason. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.